All right, we're gonna turn it over to our next, and this is Sheri, and she's got a nice little dessert cocktail going for us.
That's right, dessert. I mean, cheese is dessert, why not? You know, we serve finger foods like petit fours and mini eclairs and cream puffs for desserts. So, you know, why not cheese? In Europe, cheese is usually a dessert course, and it's served with dessert wine pairings or liqueurs or digestif. And so I picked one of my favorite cheese makers. One, because it's local and I've spent time up there at the creamery. I've made cheese with Beehive cheese. It's there at the mouth of the canyon. And this particular cheese that they have, I'm super in love with. It is their collaboration with Basil Hayden. So they use Basil Hayden in with the curds. They've got a Irish style cheddar with, which is super buttery, with infused with the Basil Hayden whiskey. So you're going to get all these lovely caramely notes, and then you start to get that bourbon spice towards the rind where it's bathed in. You can't really see it on there, but you can actually see like the marbling from the whiskey in this. So that is my cheese that I selected, and bourbon is a favorite of mine as well. I have to actually credit Michael Landis for introducing me into the world of bourbon 12 years ago. So we've known each other that long. Bourbon is a little bit sweeter than most whiskeys, and it gives you those caramely vanilla notes. So to me, the aromas of orange peel and toffee and candied nuts in this particular whiskey just made me think of dessert and of a box of Christmas chocolates. So I had to have a dessert cocktail, which, you know, Christmas is a time for decadent desserts. So I love that aroma in there. So I'm using an Eagle Rare bourbon for mine that I'm going to mix up. And we got to start with a little ice just so it chills it. I want it to water it down. I just want a little chill on it. And then I'm going to put a little bourbon in there. Now, what I love about this is now we've got a little creme de cacao. So what I've got is a dark chocolate liqueur that I'm putting in there. So you think of flavor notes of chocolate, and then I'm using some hazelnut. So this is called liquid bourbon ball. Think of it as drinking one of those lovely little chocolate truffles with bourbon and the chocolate and the hazelnut center. You're going to be drinking it here. And then I love the caramel notes that you get with the bourbon and you get with this cheese. So I'm going to put a splash of this Bailey's caramel in there because I want a little creaminess to it. You know, holidays time for desserts, right? And if you guys have all been following along, and if you've actually been making these cocktails, I mean, Brian, I see that cocktail in my future because I love anise and I love cardamom.
Likewise, I like that these are all going to be posted, and we'll enjoy them. And it's like just having a new recipe at home. That's so exciting.
Yeah, well, if they've been following along, if they pulled the recipes ahead of time, been following along, then they're probably feeling mighty fine about now, and it's time for dessert. So I'm just going to stir this a little bit, strain it into my glass. And as you can see, it's just like dessert in a glass. I made this one for my my girlfriend. I'm up here at her beautiful home. I'm in Salt Lake City. So if you can imagine, it feels like Christmas right now. We've got these aspens outside. We've got some pine trees. We've got snow all over the ground. she's got her table beautifully decorated for the holidays and with the candles and all the bling. So cheers. I'm going to give her this cocktail, and then I'm going to taste it with the Beehive. It's called Pour Me a Slice. So isn't that a cute name? Pour Me a Slice. It's infused with Basil Hayden bourbon, and I've used this with whiskey and cheese pairing classes as well. Brian talked about how you kind of eat the cheese, you let it coat your palate, you take a sip of the cocktail, and you kind of let all those flavors marry in your mouth, and it should just light up fireworks for you. Oh.
That's super exciting.
Oh, that's really good. Oh my gosh. I love what Beehive does with their cheese. They take their base cheese, which is an Irish style cheddar. It's they call it promontory. It's based on the landmark here in Utah where the Golden Spike happened. So where the two railroads met and they drove that final last spike. It's called Promontory Point. It's not that much. It's not very far from where I live. I live north of Salt Lake and out by the lake. And they take that promontory cheese and then they do different finishes to it. So one of the finishes here, of course, is the Basil Hayden whiskey, and it's co-branded with Basil Hayden on their Pour Me a Slice label. But it just those buttery notes of the cheese just complement to me the caramel and the toffee and the vanilla notes that you get from bourbon. And I guess that's why I just love bourbon so much, is because I'm just a huge fan of burnt sugar, caramelized sugar, caramel and toffee and all of those flavors together. And, a little dessert. If I'm going to have dessert, I think I want to drink it. So I'm going to say cheers and get yourself some of that cheese. And oh, by the way, it goes really well with chocolate too. So I've got this lovely little chocolate with a little bit of caramel center. So maybe a little chocolate with some of the cheese. And that to me is a perfect holiday dessert.
Everybody, thank you so much for coming in and playing and mixing and bringing your cheeses. Cheers.
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 So you're going to be able to find these recipes and, of course, the others that are coming up on michaelandischeese.com. There's a whole section that says recipes, and then it says cocktails, and each one is listed out with all the information that they have provided for me. And of course, this will be on my YouTube channel, Michael Landis Cheese, and it'll be broken out so everybody will be able to mix for the holidays and have a little bit of fun with that. So everybody, thank you so much. This was so much fun. I love all the recipes, and I can't wait to start making them on my own.